Democrats have been facing quite a bit of backlash for refusing to waive the coronavirus vaccine patent. Now, some Democrats luckily are on the right side of this issue. There are some developing countries and countries like India, for instance, that are looking to manufacture their own vaccine to ensure that they save the lives of people living in their own countries. But unfortunately, there are many Democrats who have taken money from the pharmaceutical industry who just refuse to sign on to a letter, for instance, calling for the Biden administration to waive the patent. Now, first, let's talk about the good guys. Representative Jen Schakowsky's letter to President Biden calls for the White House to temporarily lift the trade-related intellectual property rights, also known as TRIPS, that prevent many developing countries from manufacturing COVID-19 vaccines or treatments. The letter specifically calls for Biden to heed the appeals of India, South Africa, and nearly 100 other developing countries that are asking for the waiver as they confront COVID-19 with fewer resources. Now, right now, there is a total of 110 of the 218 House Democrats, including Schakowsky, of course, who have signed this letter, ensuring it will have the support of the majority of the House Democratic caucus. That's good news. The bad news is that when it comes to pharmaceutical money, those who have taken contributions from that industry have not signed on to that letter. In fact, a few of them have even come out on the record to say that they're against waiving the patent. None of the 9 House Democrats among Congress's top 25 recipients of donations from the pharmaceutical industry in the 2020 election cycle have signed the letter. And I'm going to call them out by name, starting with the biggest recipient, who's Representative Frank Pallone from New Jersey. He has taken over $202,000 in the 2020 election cycle from the pharmaceutical industry. Coming in second is Representative Richard Neal, nearly $200,000. Representative Scott Peters, Representative Anna Eshoo, Representative Chris Coons, of course.
No, that's Senator Chris Coons.
Oh, my bad, Senator Chris Coons. I don't know why he was on that list.
Yeah, so and yeah, that doesn't make sense. I think that's wrong. I think Chris Coons is taking more money. So Chris Coons is taking the most among the Senate Democrats. And then you've got these 9 Democrats in the House who are the 9 that took the most amount of money from Big Pharma, and they're all the ones who did not sign the letter, okay? So now there's 2 different issues here. What should we do about getting the vaccine to developing countries? On that one, I think that there are easy answers that no one ever does because of the corruption, which I'll get to as the second part of this. If you're making a real deal, what you would do is, if I was the president, and some progressives might not like this, I would do a balancing of interests. And I would say, okay, we want to make sure the pharmaceutical companies have enough interest in developing a vaccine so they're motivated enough to do one. Okay, how much money do they need to make to do that? A return on investment, margins, etc. And then I would say, okay, now how many lives are we going to save with these vaccines, etc. And then I would make sure that they had a healthy margin, which, by the way, their margins are unbelievable. They're beyond healthy, they're gargantuan, right? In the real world, it's okay to say, hey, look, I want you to have healthy margins, but we're gonna get the vaccine to the whole world, because I'm not gonna let people die so that you make 45% return rather than 25% return. I'm not gonna do that. And the way that the president would enforce that is when he originally makes the deal to give them billions of dollars in subsidies to produce these drugs in the first place, these vaccines. And so when Trump made the deal on these vaccines, he should have said, and part of the condition is, here's how we're going to distribute it. Not, here, we'll give you the billions of dollars and then we're at your mercy. You charge us whatever you like in America, you charge whatever you want to the world, deny it to the world to make bigger profits. Trump was their little bitch. He did whatever they wanted and he got nothing in return because he's an idiot, he doesn't want to make a deal, but more importantly, he's corrupt. And by the way, so now, again, we're the fairest show in America, so are these Democrats. Now, if you want to solve the problem and you want to get Biden to actually sign it tomorrow and say, yes, the vaccine can go to these developing countries, what you would do is you would call out the corruption. Is it a coincidence that all of the Democrats in the Senate and in the House who received the most amount of money from drug companies are now voting with the drug companies? Anyone who thinks that's a coincidence is a moron of the highest order. They're all corrupt. That is textbook corruption. They take a legalized bribe and then they do as they are ordered by their owners. Yes, that includes Chris Coons, the top ally of Joe Biden in the Senate. You know why we tell you that? Because we hate Joe Biden? No, we tell you that because our job is to cover the news and to be honest with you. Find any other show, especially on TV where they're filled to the rim with liars, that'll actually tell you the truth. MSNBC will tell you the Democrats are God's gift to humanity. Oh, Chris Coons, how could you say he's corrupt? You guys are radicals, right? And Fox News will tell you, oh, Coons is the worst, but Trump is the best. No, they all make the same crooked deals. And Ilhan Omar today tweeted great about, hey, you got to do this, putting some pressure on Biden. So she's one of the good guys in that sense. Thank you for putting some pressure on Biden. But are any progressive legislators going to make a big issue about how their colleagues are corrupt? Yes, they definitely should. None of them will, because that would make people uncomfortable. That's the reality.
So Biden had committed to waiving any potential patents if the United States were the first country to develop a coronavirus vaccine. This was during the 2020 election, and Adi Barkan had asked him that specific question. Let's see how he answered.
If the US discovers a vaccine first, will you commit to sharing that technology with other countries? And will you ensure there are no patents to stand in the way of other countries and companies mass producing those life-saving vaccines?
Absolutely, positively. This is the only humane thing in the world to do.
Great, so he should do it. There's no reason why he shouldn't do it at this point. We're not talking about, I mean, look, the entire pharmaceutical industry and the way the system is set up with this incredible profit motive is sick to its core, and it's something that needs to change. But we're not even having a discussion about fundamentally changing it. We're just having a talk about temporarily lifting the patent on these vaccines to ensure that we save people's lives and stop the spread of a deadly virus. This is a global pandemic, and we're currently living in a global economy. So the fact, I mean, look, again, even if, let's just pretend as if Americans and the American government doesn't care about any human lives. There's no morality that plays a role in their thinking, and they're only thinking about money. Okay, which seems to be the driving force for many of our politicians. It is stupid to focus solely on ensuring that everyone in one country is vaccinated when we're dealing with a global pandemic, when we're dealing with a virus that likely didn't originate in the United States, it originated in a different country and made its way to the United States. So the idea of not sharing this technology and ensuring that as many people across the globe get vaccinated as humanly possible is absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason why we should still have this debate. Why hasn't this already happened? And by the way, it's a huge myth that pharmaceutical companies, they need these patents and because they need this incentive to develop these drugs. Otherwise, I mean, they're taking a huge risk. They're putting so much of their money into develop these drugs. Except you look at the research and development funding for most of the drugs, and you'll see that it comes out of our pockets. The US taxpayers pay for it, and then they turn around and they price gouge us. And then they have these conversations about like, oh yeah, but we're not gonna invest in this and we're not gonna take these risks unless we have these protections. Get out of here, they don't take any risks. That's the biggest American myth, that these private companies take on all the risks and they should be rewarded for it, when in reality, we're the ones who take the risks on their behalf all the time.
Okay, so last part of this is Biden's gonna make the decision tomorrow. So we're gonna find out, okay? And I don't know which way he's gonna go. It should be super easy. This should be the layup of a lifetime. Number one, you just heard him during the campaign. He said he would definitely do it. So he made a campaign promise. In fact, Adi did a follow-up, and Biden answered yes, 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 yes. 4 times he said yes, that he would do this. Nothing's ever been clearer. Number two, it's a little bit of a going in the direction of progressives, giving them another easy thing that doesn't cost them anything. Number 3, as he pointed out, it's the humane thing to do. Number 4, it's in his self-interest. Because even if you don't care about the hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people who are gonna die waiting for the vaccine across the world, those variants might then spread and come back here. And then if the disease picks back up here, it hurts Biden's presidency, let alone the American people, right? So there's just no reason not to do it. So if he doesn't do it and he sides with the drug companies, That means Joe Biden is corrupt. Now, again, you won't hear that anywhere on television. There is literally no reason to go back on that campaign promise other than cold, hard cash that the drug companies give as campaign contributions to Joe Biden and his friends in Congress. So everything's about corruption, but everyone in mainstream media will lie to you and pretend that's not the issue at hand. It is. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.